Oh, welcome back to Star Citizen, where we're trying some, non-lethal stuff this time after we've gone for more action-oriented stuff in the past few episodes. We're going to be doing some trading. Also, we're going to be carrying some boxes along the way. I already found a suitable quest where we basically have to pick up a box at a pickup site way over there. We're currently on OLSR, but since where we're going is a mining outpost, we're actually gonna do some trading along the way too. So we're gonna... No, not the Hornet. So we're gonna load up on some medical supplies too. Let's say... What? Alright. Let's go. Anyway, in this episode later, when we have some downtime, which we'll surely have, I'll talk some more about different avenues that you could exploit. Right now, what we're doing is a delivery mission where we have to pick up a box over there at the mining outpost, and then we'll have to bring it to one of the Lagrange point stations, out in the system. So, since that means that we have to take a huge jump at some point, I think I'll talk about alternatives to this route in a moment. For now, let's try and just get there. Doing these kind of missions can be pretty profitable. Depending on how far the targets are away from one another, you can get either like 1.5k or a little over 7k UEC for it. This one is has a longer trip, so it will give you 7k. A lot of them try to take you to Lawville though, which I would definitely not recommend, because a lot of them, because the target of a lot of them is at one of Lawville's gates, which means you don't just need to go to Hurston, land at Lawville, go through Tisa Airport, then get a tram to the central, to the metro station, and then from there another tram to one of the gates, and then still walk a little bit, which takes huge ass time, so I don't think that's worth it. But what we're doing here right now, which is mostly done in space with some planetary landings in between, I think is pretty profitable considering. Of course, the best one would probably be if we had to pick something up at OLSR and bring it to one of the R&Rs or Lagrange point stations. So anyway, Yela. It's gonna be on high. Let's be on high alert for a second here. Why do you? God damn it, man! Of all places, you could just freak out. Why on Yela? All right.
Quantum drive is now
on. I bought some medical supplies because medical supplies are pretty cheap to buy at OLSR. I think it's also the cheapest place to buy that, but I'm not entirely sure on that because you can also buy them in some other places. And you can pretty much sell them anywhere, which is part of the reason for why when I do this kind of I don't know if there's any fancy way to call this approach. I just call it box and drop. But in any way, when you do that, you can always ask yourself the question if it's worth to you to just go back to OLSR in between. Because right now we basically have some medical supplies that we can sell here for some small profit. But then from here to the next mission target, which is gonna be one of the R&R stations, there's really nothing that we could buy at Arcorp Mining that we could sell there. So there is one thing we can do though. We can buy some minerals, go back to OLSR where we can sell them because OLSR also buys pretty much anything in the game, and then load up on some more medical supplies there, and then sell them to one of the R&R outposts, which is what I'm actually going to be doing in a few minutes here. But technically, if you just wanted to do the mission, it would be definitely quicker if we just did the mission but then we would just get that profit. Yeah. In the end, we'll be taking a look at how much profit we made off this whole trip with the additional stops along the way. And then we'll discuss if it was worth it or not. I'll see. We'll see that, but for now, let's just go along with the playbook here. Let's slow down too. probably overshooting it. And there's someone there. Not particularly fond of that.
Landing gear deployed.
See what it is. Funny. Anyway, unless we're gonna land outside somewhere. Well, and Aurora is on the landing area. Alright.
Collision alert. Front. Collision alert.
Oops.
Port. Landing complete.
That was a bit too steep.
Engines are
But we're
off.
fine. Ship can handle that. It's basically an issue with the ship and landing. If you don't come down in the correct angle, the ship will lean slightly downwards on the front side, and do we land on some rock? Apparently we landed on some rock, but the elevator is fully down, so that's fine. There's also that. Apparently I also landed on some rock. I thought I was already past that one. Never mind. Not the most perfect landing ever, but you know, the actual landing area was taken. Now it's not, but it was. Anyway, there's a few things we can buy here depending on your budget. Speaking of budget, you should never invest everything that you have in trading because it's way too risky. There's so many things that can go wrong. Like people start shooting at you and you lose all your freight because while your ship might be insured, your cargo definitely is not insured. So you should never invest everything that you have. How much you can invest depends a little bit on how much risk you're willing to take. I personally am somewhat leaning between 1/4 and 1/5 of what I have generally. I could probably invest more, but I'm not particularly fond of that. I need to check something real quick. If Odyssey buys fluorine or chlorine, because I think it only buys one of those. Sorry, was not prepared for that eventuality. Okay, it buys chlorine. Does it also buy chlorine? Apparently it also buys chlorine now. Funny. Okay, then we'll take fluorine, I guess. Alright. Now we'll be picking up a box. Some of the things that can go wrong, like aside from, you know, the obvious, there's a pirate somewhere along the way shooting you down. The game server could crash, you know, which happens all the time. Where's the ship over there? And if the game server crashes, you sometimes are able to get back into the same instance, but if the server crashes and not just your game, then probably the server is gone too. So you might get back, somewhere on a new server, but we'll have to order a new version of your ship, and then well, you don't get the freight back alongside with it. So there's really many things that can go wrong. Some areas are a little more risque than others, like especially when you go to Yela. Yela is a little bit more dangerous because the drug lab is here, which is probably the most profitable trade route that the game has at the moment. So if there are pirates around, then they're probably around either the drug lab or at the exit of the jump point between Olazar and Yela, which we did take. So because a lot of traffic goes through there. If you want to have a target, just wait there for a minute and something should show up, you know. Anyway, from here on out though, we should be pretty safe though, as far as other players are concerned. Sometimes you meet some people down here, but this is a arms zone, so nobody could shoot you down in first-person shooter. But depending on where your mission target is, it could also be at some outposts that do not have an armistice zone. So there you also should be on high alert, because technically people can just shoot you down there. I mean, some people are nice and won't, but if you see a ship parked outside, always be somewhat on alert. Anyway, now we're leaving Atmo again. And then, as I said, instead of heading to our mission target right away, we're going to be taking a detour to Olisar. I have some weird input issues. Apparently I do need to keep it up. Where my joystick is not centered anymore. When I don't touch it, it's not centered. So sometimes there's additional input here that the ship thinks it needs to strafe down, but really doesn't need to. Could also just try and hold the stick, but yeah. Oh well. Anyway. You should be clearing out any moment here. Ah, come on. I think Hila was 30k something. Yeah. Alright. So, detour. It's a bit boring, I know, because we were basically going back to a place where we have just been at, but you know, profit. Other things that are more profitable are probably even more boring, because you return to the same two places, you know, every few minutes. So here you basically jump back around from Port Olisar to places, and then back to Port Olisar to different places. So, you know, you must really like Port Olisar for this route, I guess.
Quantum drive
But
is now off.
the things we do for profit. I think Jamie Lannister said that at some point. Might have been saying something different though, but oops, we'll slow down. Not sure why the acceleration was cranked up. Sometimes the behavior of the ship with full cargo is weird, to say the least. Also, technically speaking of danger, the area around Olisar can also be dangerous. While it's been some time since I've seen people ramming, there's a few people that skirt around the armistice zone around Port Olisar and try to shoot people.
Landing gear deployed. Collision alert. Low. Landing complete.
Well, at least that was a little bit better landing.
Have a pleasant stay.
Basically what I do here is, since I have my forward and backwards thrusters set up on my stick too, I basically, we'll leave the package here, I basically just kill the engines entirely once I'm close enough, and then just gently go to where I want with just the maneuvering thrusters, which works pretty great. You know, I mean, decoupled is also, there's also something said for doing a whole decoupled landing and all that, but just with maneuvering thrusters, it's also pretty legit and feels good. Anyway, I'm just here for a quick trade. Basically, selling the fluorine we just picked up. And then we're gonna grab some more medical supplies. And then we're back off Olisar again. the jump actually is not that far away. It's only 6 mil, which is one of the closer potential targets. All right. Guess I won't get that much of a chance to talk about to talk about other routes, I guess. Well, we'll see. All right.
Engines are off. Engines are on.
Thrusters. Thrusters.
Takeoff complete.
I'm not sure why they're so slow. What they're getting there now. Sometimes ESP has issues with landing and all. Anyway, we need to set a manual target there because it's not going to show up on our regular QD routes. One thing you can also do to remain safer is to just hover over LSR, not just move out, not go out to the potential
Quantum drive
to the potentially dangerous non-obstacle zone around it. So,
gear raised.
because if you just start up your engines, you'll be leaving the obstacle zone rather quickly, which potentially opens you up to being shot at. Anyway, so that's that. We're almost getting to a close here, and then we're gonna tell you how much money we made off of that. Meanwhile, let's talk about other potential routes that you could do. Legally, something similar to what I already did here is basically to just transfer medical supplies from Port Olisar to places. They're always there in abundance, and most places also buy them in pretty huge amounts. Like for instance, you could take medical supplies from Port Olisar to Grimhex, for instance. You would have to buy them for like 17 UEC a piece, and you would get like about 18 UEC a piece back, so a profit of 1 per piece. And let's say you have about 100 SUs worth of a cargo hold, which the Andromeda is slightly below that. The Freelancer Max is slightly above that at, I believe, 120. So just for comparison, you would be making like would carry that 10k. You would be making 10k per trip. Sadly, you can't really buy anything at Grimhex, so the trip back is just basically empty. But the whole round trip itself is pretty short, because you basically just have to hop to Yela, then from there you have to hop to Grimhex. You pretty much have a similar landing approach as on Olisar. Then on Grimhex you need to walk around the station a bit, which is probably the most boring and time-consuming part of all of this. And then sell it, and then just fly back and resell stuff. It's pretty decent. However, if you want to take the full advantage of that, you need to be able to invest like 170k of UEC to fill up your entire cargo hold in that, which you might not just have lying around. But if you did, you would be able to get like 10k back with your entire cargo hold, which is neat for such a short trip. Other things you can do, I don't have any prices written down for those, but other things you could do is some of the mining outposts sell Agricium. It has even slightly higher win margin than the medical supplies. Also, on the way there, you can take medical supplies along and just sell them at your target. Why am I so freaking slow? Oh, it's that issue again. Okay. Okay. So there you would have basically 2 trips. One where you sell medical supplies with similar profit as I just talked, but the route is going to be taking a little bit longer because you're landing on a planet and all that. And on the way back, however, you're going to be able to sell Agricium, and if you don't have enough money to buy Agricium, because that's even more expensive, I think it's like at 24 for every piece, so you would have to have like 200k to fill up your entire cargo hold. So yeah, but for the rest of the cargo hold that you cannot afford yet, you can always buy something cheaper. So you could start doing that to some extent when you just have 20-30k. Just buy some Agricium and fill up the rest with cheaper stuff. Anyway, I need to slow down.
Landing gear deployed.
Please proceed to assigned landing bay.
Is that on this side? It is, okay.
Collision alert. Front. Collision alert. Low. Collision alert. Rear. Collision alert. Low. Landing complete.
Landing complete. Have a pleasant stay.
I forgot to switch off the engines. Well, let's hope that's not going to be an issue. Wait a sec. I can't do that from standing here. Sorry. And then, as I already kind of alluded to, probably the most profitable route is to buy drugs, Widow specifically, from Jumptown on Yela. It's pretty cheap at, I believe 15 a piece, and you can sell it for like 25, so you have a profit of like 10 a piece, which sounds crazy compared to what I told you earlier, which barely even breaks over 1 a piece. There are some important things to remember with drugs though. Obviously, it's not really kinda sorta legal, so it might be having legal ramifications at some point. Right now it doesn't. Also, there's a lot of people there because they also want to make profit, and you know, there's often shootouts and people just laying there and waiting to kill people, griefers and all that. So it's potentially way more dangerous. And also sometimes you'll not be able to sell all of that at the very same place, because few places actually need that a huge amount of drugs in the first place. So that might also be a thing that you have to both wait while buying drugs, because they might not be all available there, because they only slowly replenish, and especially on servers where a lot of people go there, they might not have too many things available at any one point. And also selling them could take a little bit longer. So, but the return on investment there is looking pretty slick at like $2 you get back for every $3 you invested, which is pretty insane. Anyway, let's drop off this box. There's a player here. Alright. That. While that's processing, we can also sell our medical supplies. Ugh, undefined. That's not good. It's gonna take a little bit longer. Undefined means that either the store on this base has an issue, or that it really doesn't want to buy all of the medical supplies I have. One potential solution is to sell them in smaller quantities. That was too much. We're getting undefined again. That's a freaking shame. Apparently it doesn't want to take any more. Well, let's go somewhere else then, because this one doesn't want to buy our medical supplies. I really would like to tally up. Potentially you should be able to sell them all at the same place, but sometimes you run into issues like that. Maybe the person that just was there before also tried to sell medical supplies, just barely managed to sell his, and then now they're not really looking for more medical supplies. I don't know. But potentially, as you saw, you can do this kind of mission in like 25 minutes, give or take. We have to take another detour to sell the rest, so I'll continue recording, but we'll not count it for the time for comparison purposes. I think, right? That wouldn't be fair. Normally, normally in like, I've been at many of these R&R stations, and at most of them you should be able to sell them with no problem. It's just sometimes I think like 1, 2, maybe 3 of those occasionally have issues. So let's just fly somewhere else in order to sell it. Because right now we can't really say how much we made. Actually, we could have. I just could have pretended I sold them and then did the math. But who wants to do the math, you know? Anyway, now it's late. Not much going back in there. Alright, come on, engines, come on. There you go. Okay, so where we're going? Where are we anyway? Pearl 3. Okay. Let's try Crew L1 then.
Landing gear raised. Quantum drive is now on.
Alright. That's about it. I'm afraid I don't really have too many other things to say at this point. All the stations around Hurston have really pretty much the same prices right now, so they're not really that interesting in adding to any potential trade route because there's just no variety there. So, and the best market to sell is in Hurston, which always takes a huge ass time to just get to. You know, there's just no station in space that you can easily sell to or buy at, like Olisar, which is a huge advantage for, in my opinion, for the whole Crusader area. So I would advise not to go there, though potentially the prices are better than the prices at Olisar are across most of the board. But you know, it's just such a pain to get there, especially in huge transport ships. So anyway, almost there. So basically you just have to find a proper mission. If you don't find one for 7k that takes you to one of the close R&R stations, then you can also do one of the ones that just takes you around that just takes you around Crusader, like from one mining outpost to, I don't know, farm or whatever. The mission itself doesn't pay quite as well, but you don't have that huge jump too, so you don't have to invest too much time either. Where's the bloody station? Since we don't have a mission marker, I just need to find that thing. Ugh. Would be easier to find if it wasn't in the middle of the day outside and blinding me. Apologies. Should be that one.
Hydrogen fuel is at 75%.
That was a little bit too early. There's someone here again.
Please proceed to assigned landing bay.
That's an Aurora? Looked like an Aurora, but might have been something different though.
Landing gear deployed. Collision alert. Front. Collision alert. Starboard. Collision alert. Low. Landing complete.
Landing complete.
Engines
Pleasant
are
stay.
So let's see if the sounding works better here. We're at pad 3 again. If you go to an R&R station, you always should remember which part you parked at. You parked at because you can't see it from anywhere. Once you're inside. So, I mean, unless you specifically remember which elevator you stepped out on, which you know you might be able to remember, but I wouldn't rely on it because sometimes it's did I turn left first or right, or was it the middle one or the one on the left? Anyway. Yay, thank you. Anyway, when we started this recording, like, let's say 30 minutes ago, I had 133,921. Now I have 146,932. So that's 13,009. No, 11. 14,011 credits. The mission itself paid like 7k. You can take a quick look at that. Does it show in history? Yes. The mission itself paid like 7.4k, so which is almost half of the entire money that we made. But the rest was through all of the small side deals that we also had going. You know, buying medical supplies, then selling them, buying ore, selling it, buying medical supplies again, selling medical supplies again. Which individually they don't really give you back that much, but they do add up. Also, I was being rather conservative with the amount of money that I was willing to invest. I mean, in hindsight, the server didn't crash, nothing happened. Of course, I could have invested more and gotten more money out of it, but again, if something did happen, I would have been taken back way more than I would have been here. And we still made, in like half an hour, we made like 13k. If you invest a little bit more, there's really no problem. You couldn't get, you know, 15k out of this, you know? Which is not the most insane profit margin that you could look at right now, admittedly, but it's decent. Anyway, so much about that. Not sure what we'll be doing in the next episode. Maybe we'll actually go to Jumptown for some drug trafficking. I don't know. We'll see that next time, though. Have a good one.